Welcome back. Today in Topeka, the Kansas Senate reversed the governor's veto on a bill that involves SNAP purchases for candy and soda.
It was initially passed in March and requested a waiver from the Supplemental Assistance Program to remove candy and soda, but Governor Kelly decided the waiver was harmful to Kansans. We sent reporter Sophia Jernander to the state capitol to follow the veto session.
Governor Kelly argued the bill would make it more difficult for Kansans to access food they need, as well as harming businesses. She agrees that Kansas should make changes to help its people eat healthier, but she says that should be done at the federal level. The Senate had the votes to override her veto. State Senator Renee Erickson of Wichita sponsored the bill and says removing candy and soda from SNAP purchases is in line with the purpose of food assistance programs, which she says is to provide nutritional value to low-income Americans. She was reading off of a requested waiver she says the state submitted to the federal government 2 days before the bill was vetoed.
Allowing the purchase of sugar-sweetened soda beverages and candy with minimal nutritional value with federal dollars is harmful for low-income families, and it enables unhealthy nutritional habits. It also creates irresponsible spending of federal tax dollars and increases health care costs.
In a rebuttal, State Senator Pat Petty claimed this would create confusion due to the wording of the bill.
Because of the confusion that this bill creates, where it speaks to whether it has flour or not flour within the product, so like items like trail mix and food products like that would not be included or would be not allowed, but yet you could buy a Twix bar or a Kit Kat.
We have since learned that the waiver that Senator Erickson read from was submitted in error and has been rescinded. This is according to the Kansas Department of Children and Families. In Topeka, I'm Sophia Jernander, 12 News.